we just dove in,
That's
honestly.
neat.
Yeah, because it felt silly to ignore it.
Yep.
You know, like it would have been a huge misstep to not address what was happening.
Welcome to the D3 Discipleship Podcast, a podcast about the language and tools that help to create a culture of intentional discipleship in your church. We are excited that you're joining us today and hope that you enjoy what you hear. Hey everybody, welcome back to the D3 Discipleship Podcast. Today is another special day because we have more guests.
We have like a full house today.
We do.
Yeah.
This couch is full.
It
if
is.
you are watching on the YouTube version.
Yep. I'm over here all alone though. It's okay. I got all my.
We got a bunch of
my armor.
girls. So we have Miss Lauren Elliot.
Hello.
Woohoo. She's back again for number 2.
Yeah.
She's
a
we didn't
pro
scare her
at
off.
this point.
Yeah.
Well.
Not about pro.
And with her is, would you like to introduce your guest?
Morgan Lindgren.
Yes.
So we are co-leading right now.
Right.
And it is wonderful.
Yeah. Super.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Well, that's awesome. Well, the purpose of this podcast is to coach and equip you to lead your best in discipleship. And so that is our hope today. And we have these ladies here to kind of walk through where they are in their discipling journey. And then also, let's talk about like co-leading together, right? And some of that stuff. And so looking forward to that. Are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Do I not look like I'm looking forward to it?
Yes, absolutely. So, anything else we need to know?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right, let's jump into it. How's that sound?
So I'm kind of in this phase where I just found a co-leader.
Woohoo!
And thanks.
Tyler, yeah.
Yes.
fun.
There should be a crowd cheering noise.
Don't you have one?
Oh, I do. I don't remember which one it is though.
Yeah. So, what did that look like for you guys? Like, how did you guys decide to co-lead together?
Yeah. You want to go, Morgan?
I
I had to talk her into it. Yeah, I know. I had to talk her into it.
See, that's not how I interpreted it.
Then you go first.
So,
Yeah. Go ahead, Morgan.
so I obviously knew Lauren because we've both been at New City Church for a while, and so I knew of her, but we never really were in like the same groups. You have kiddos and I don't, so we just like crossed paths but didn't really know each other.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, you started a women's kind of book club, 1,000 Gifts, and I was like, I want to do that. And so I started coming to that, but most of our ladies that joined us were online. And so most of the time it was only Lauren and I in person, which was fine because then we had more time to like chit chat and connect one-on-one before and after other ladies joined or whatever. So I feel like that's where we first kind of became closer friends, if you will.
Yeah.
And then...
We're friends, Morgan.
well, at what point do you say, now I'm a
Then
friend?
we're now
Yes.
Right?
friends.
Now
I feel
we're
like
friends.
That's kind of when we became friends.
That's right.
And so then we started doing more stuff together. We started kind of planning some of the larger women's events with a bunch of other ladies that are great here at New City Church. And so we just started working together more on more church-related things. Then we got into a couple city groups together, and then we kind of realized both of us were looking to lead. I didn't really know what that looked like for me because I had a couple other folks that I was maybe thinking of leading with. And so that's why Lauren, I think, says that she had to beg me because I was kind of like seeking, and she dropped some hints and I didn't get the
I
hints.
told her. I said, I would lead with you.
That's not how I heard it.
Sometimes you just got to be direct, right? Like, yeah.
That's not how I heard it, though.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That was,
So then Jacob one day was like, hey, Morgan, don't you want to lead a group and you're looking for a co-leader? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, Lauren is too. And she was standing right there. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then he was like, I'll let you two talk. And he walked.
There you go.
Jacob, I guess we should do this.
Jacob's
and I
really
was
good
like,
at that.
Morgan, I told you I would lead with you.
I didn't remember that.
And she's like, well, I just didn't know if you were really ready to commit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am.
It's like one of those eHarmony moments, right? Like Jacob's like, hey, ladies, let's talk.
just do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
So that's my interpretation, but maybe yours is slightly different.
No, yeah, that's very similar. Yeah. We went to lunch. Jacob and I went to lunch with you, and I keep wanting to call her sister's name. Not Melissa. Michelle.
It's okay.
So we went to lunch and they were going to lead together.
Okay.
And they were naming off all of the girls that they felt like were people of peace. And I was like, those are the people I think are people of peace for me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, you guys don't get to do that. they didn't care.
Yeah.
But then later, Michelle changed her mind and was like, I actually don't think I'm supposed to lead right now.
Yeah.
And so then that's when I was like, Morgan, I'll lead with you.
Yeah.
That's when
And
you
then
started
she
begging.
didn't believe me, and then I started begging. Yeah.
Started begging.
I told you.
Please, come
We're
on.
going to lead together.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was just
Cool.
honestly, it was like the Lord was like, hey, here's we had the same people of peace. So
Yeah.
I think that was
That's really
pretty
cool.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Lauren, you do a great job of using city groups to get to know people. And I feel like every time I've walked through the halls on an evening, you're leading a city group.
Probably true.
Yeah, maybe true. Yeah. Whether it's a community group or whether it's a church group, do you have the people in your current group, are they all New City folks, or are they some of the ones that you have in your community Bible studies?
They are all from New City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good portion of them, I have to count. So there's 5 ladies that we are discipling.
Yeah.
And at least 3 of them. And I think 3 of the 5 were in a city group with together.
Okay.
So they knew each other.
Yeah.
Too as well. And then
Yes,
the
that's
city
right.
group that you led, Trish and I shouldn't say names.
It's okay.
Yeah.
2 of the other 2 were in that city group
Gotcha.
together. So there was also a cohesiveness to the girls. That
Yeah, there was
already
some
knew.
overlap.
Gotcha.
So there were some girls from this group, some girls from that group.
Yep.
Her group and then your group.
And some of them overlapped and were in both groups.
Gotcha.
So it was
okay.
nice because everybody already knew somebody
Yeah.
in the group.
Awesome.
But we didn't all know all of each other
Yeah.
I
when
gotcha.
we first started.
Yeah.
So the people you said that all the people that Morgan was naming were the same people that you had thought about. How were you connected? Were you connected to all those people via groups or?
Yes. There's one that I realized I don't think she was in your group either, actually. I don't think she was in either of our groups. She's one of the M's.
She's one of the M's. Yeah.
But she I don't know, was just friendly, and I think she helped with a
You've
couple
been
of
to
women
lunch with her.
women's events too. She came to women's events.
Ah,
That's how
gotcha.
we got to know her too.
Yeah.
The best.
Okay.
Very cool.
So shout out to city groups
And women's
Yeah.
events.
True.
And
Right.
I was about to go there. Do you see?
Yeah.
Do you see what I
She's
have to
jumping
work
on that.
with
That's
every
right.
day?
That's right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. So,
Well, I was
Were
just
you gonna
gonna
ask-
say,
Yeah.
if you are looking to lead a group,
Yeah.
that kind of shows the importance of maybe starting with a city group.
Right.
I
For
mean,
sure.
For fishing.
yeah.
Yep.
And there were people in a group that we did together. So between those 2 groups, then we did Believe. I believe it. Wasn't it Believe?
That's
No,
a long
that was
time
Experiencing
ago.
God.
It was Experiencing God. I was like, that was pretty long ago.
Yeah, that was-
with Abby. That
Wow.
was years and years
Yeah,
ago.
that was.
Okay, Experiencing God, we did, we sat in a class together.
Okay.
Right.
And so we invited a lot of the ladies to do that so that we could kind of see how the groups melded.
Yeah.
And there was even someone in that group though that we thought hey, maybe this is a person of peace.
Yep.
But then after being in that group, we're like, no.
Nope.
So I think that
Yeah.
honestly, that's
Yeah.
also where it's helpful is I don't think that person's quite ready yet.
Yeah.
Well, and that same woman, we weren't just nope,
Yeah.
not going to work.
Right,
I
right.
tried to take her to dinner and there were some struggles with that. And we invited her to a hangout session that we planned
Yeah.
prior to starting our group when we were trying to determine are these really people of peace? We had kind
There
of
you
just
go. I like that.
hangout at my apartment. And we invited her and she said she would show and then she didn't show and then she made excuses and we were just
Yeah.
kind of all right, this isn't jiving.
Yeah.
This
Sure.
is not, she's not ready. We're not ready. This is not the time for
Yeah.
this particular person in this group.
That's great discernment. Yeah. So, okay, just to bring clarity for folks who are listening, from the standpoint of you guys said we came together and kind of our people of peace meshed. So give us an idea of kind of what that conversation looked like from the standpoint of, it may have been hey, I'm thinking these 5 and you're thinking these 5 and they're the same. If it's that simple, then it's that simple. But how did that go as far as that conversation?
Yeah, I think a lot of them were the same, but then there were a few, what's a nice way to say, outliers?
Yeah, no, that's the word I was
thinking.
thinking.
There were a couple women that I
Yeah.
was kind of like felt a little bit more drawn to, and there were a couple women that she felt a little bit more drawn to.
Yeah.
And so we kind of talked about those, and then kind of like I mentioned just a little bit ago,
Uh-huh.
I took one of the women to dinner,
Right.
and it was fine. We
Yeah.
just had some struggles, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't jiving, and
No,
so
yeah.
then
yeah.
I was like, okay, we don't have to continue to pursue that particular person.
Right.
Is this the person that she was more drawn to, or that you
That I
were?
was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me go to dinner with her, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then after that, I texted Lauren, and I was like, I don't think this is the right time, but we
Yeah,
still we invited her to the hangout that we had before.
Gotcha.
And then she didn't show for that. And so
Yeah.
we were like,
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think,
Made it clear.
yeah, I think the thing with that sometimes is like if dinner is hard or just a
Oh my
30-minute
goodness.
coffee talk is hard,
Yeah.
then we're going to have a really hard time
Yeah.
in
for
the
sure.
next 8 to 12 months
and
spending
she's still
time
a
together.
fantastic human,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
just wasn't time for her to be in this type of group right,
Right.
now. Like I'm still
Right.
friends with her, and it's
Absolutely.
fine,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but this wasn't the time and place.
sure. No, that's great.
So, in the beginning stages, this is your second group, so you feel a little more established in what you're doing as a leader, I would think.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of that unknown, right? Yeah.
I mean,
feeling that.
I'm thinking of myself, and I'm like, I feel that way
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah.
what are some things that are different or maybe a little easier the second time around? Like for those of us who have gone through our first group and we're like, okay, do I want to do this again?
Yeah.
Or like, how do I need to change this? Like, what were some differences?
I think my confidence level is just much higher,
Yeah.
too. And knowing last time I led with Abby, and we both were right out of a group, but Abby has a lot more ministry experience too. So I kind of let Abby take the reins.
Yeah.
But so this time around, I feel like I got to put on my big girl pants a little bit more, and lead out on stuff. So I think I'd say the confidence level for me,
How'd you gain that confidence?
just big girl pants. Time to do it. Yeah.
Make it so you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Okay, moment of vulnerability. Like I don't
No.
feel more confident.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
part of my struggle now is that the ladies in our group currently they already came to us very spiritually mature, which has been awesome
Yeah.
and super fun.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I am not really the leader,
Yeah.
which we are not the leader. The Lord is the leader.
Right.
Yeah.
So what they're hearing from him is obviously the most important thing. And we're kind of just trying to guide them down this path.
Yeah.
But I don't feel more confident to answer your question. So for me, it's not really that different or better than last time.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand that. Like, well, I don't have people of peace yet, but I get that feeling of going into a crowd of like, what, they're not going to listen to me. Like, what do I have to say that they don't already know or whatever?
Yeah.
But when you were saying that, just the phrase that caught my attention was like, as iron sharpens iron. So it's not like you're going in to lead them, to show them what to
Right.
do, but like, just even with like women's ministry or anything, like we are here to help each other because we're not always on.
Right.
And so even though they are very spiritually mature, we all have our instances where we're not, or like we forget, or we can't.
Yeah.
So that's, that was the thing that popped up.
For sure.
So Morgan, you've said, I think a couple times to Katie and maybe even, I think an email to me in the past or something along those lines of like the resources have been helpful. Could you speak to that for a little bit? Like, cause you just said you don't feel confident, but at the same time, resources have maybe helped.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, to that point, another piece of it is I hadn't led for a little over a year probably.
Yeah.
And so while it's like I knew the things and I had been through it myself and I had led once,
Sure.
some of the things were different.
Yeah.
Some things have changed. And also the things that are the same, I just had kind of forgotten the nitty gritty, the details of
Yeah, yeah.
like actually being able to teach it. So, I mean,
Sure.
every single time I'm finding the podcast episode that is talking about that particular tool.
Right.
I'm going to the guidebook and I'm going to the website and looking at the resources for every time I have to teach the tool. Because I'm like, I just need the reminder and I want to feel more empowered to like answer their questions and give the correct information.
Right.
She's
Very
a
cool.
rock star teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of figured she is.
Yeah.
But,
Lauren just kind of wings it. She's like, here's the shape.
I think it's obvious.
But listen, they both work.
Yeah.
Both options work.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a triangle. No, I'm just okay. That's what yeah.
I
That's
was
awesome.
looking through it yesterday.
Yeah.
We're like halfway through the tools. I was telling her. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
how we're halfway through the tools.
We were doing 8 arenas last night and she was like, is identity in 8 arenas? I was like, I'm looking at the book right now.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
like, oh, I was thinking of identity triangle. I was like, different tool. Yep. We'll get it. We'll
But
get
they're there. They're both there. Yeah.
I'm doing
Yeah.
great, guys.
That's awesome.
We've got our
That's
guidebooks.
awesome.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
it is. Well, and
Yeah.
it's like our 8 arenas have taken a long time.
Yes.
And so that's where I'm like, I think
Yeah.
that was the first one we did.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I was just like,
It's
was that a different
developed
thing
over
that we did
time,
that
right?
night, or
Yeah.
was that still 8 arenas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, you guys are in phase 2 right now.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about phase 1. Like, what did that look like
Yeah.
as far as sharing stories? How did that go? Was it good? What?
Right. I was going to ask the same question.
Well, great minds
We're, like,
think
on
alike,
this-
Katie.
I know.
Yeah. You know, it's like we've done 55 episodes
You
together
do
or
this long
something.
enough, and
Yeah.
you kind of just
That's
learn.
right. Yes. We're tracking. Yeah.
I love it.
So, like, phase 1, what did that look like? And sharing stories and all that.
Yeah, so I feel like we jumped, like like she said, our ladies this time are just like pretty spiritually mature. A lot of them have been in church for a while and stuff too. So it wasn't difficult to like just dive right in. And they had already built relationships with each other too prior, like whether through groups or that kind of thing. So stories came really naturally. And honestly, I feel like they were really vulnerable with really, really hard stuff. I wanted to say bad word, like just really hard stuff. Like, and so that was pretty great way to just kick it off. Always helps too. Like we went first. And so for us to share our stuff too and the hard things and be vulnerable is always huge, I think, in starting off the group too. Well, that they are like, oh, okay, we're going to share that stuff, like, okay.
We're going all the way in there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All of the
Going down that rabbit hole. Yeah.
So
I'd say there were tears every week. Not that tears is the sign that like you've done a good job, but like to say that people were very vulnerable and
There you go.
they were honest in sharing and
Yeah.
it's cool because now we can like know that about them and know that that's part of their story and kind of keep that in mind when other things come up. Like, hey, remember you said XYZ in your story. Is that impacting this current situation type of thing? The other thing I'd say about our phase 1 is we did phase 1, if you will, for a very long time because we started with just doing some of those hangout sessions like I mentioned earlier. So we'd like just have a dinner or whatever because for a while we were trying to figure out what day we could meet and who all was committing to the group.
Yeah.
Some of them had some other groups that they were considering joining as well. And so we were giving them time to kind of process and pray through that.
You were courting them. Hey, we're better. We're going to be more fun. Yeah.
sort of your friends in this group.
That's
No, we were very much like, if you're feeling called to
Absolutely.
join that group and you feel like that woman can speak more into your life right now, then you should go with that. But we would love to have you if you feel like we can help you through this journey as well.
Yeah.
So our kind of ramp up time to getting to phase 1 was pretty long. So like Lauren said, once we were like, all right, signing covenants, here we go, jumping into stories, that went really quickly.
cool.
And like when we handed them covenants, some of them were just like, here.
I was going to say.
Can you and they're like, no, we know. Like we've been doing it for so long.
That was going to be my next question was like, so they're already kind of comfortable. They're already spiritually mature. And it seems like they all kind of already wanted this. So I was going to ask how covenants went.
Yeah. I mean, first, I always feel awkward asking people to sign covenants, honestly, and like going through it. It feels weird. And so that's where I try and be like my most, like, I promise we're not weird. Like, I promise it's going to be, like, So I don't think any of them had any issues really.
Yeah.
I mean, we like laughed about, some of the things because it is like it's in there for a reason,
Sure.
right? I can't
Right.
even think of the things like that are off-putting maybe sometimes, but it's in there for a reason.
Yep.
But like also we don't want to like it's not to scare you away or like we're not like we're not asking for I don't know. We're not asking for your social security number.
Right.
We're not
Right.
asking for your bank
Yeah.
account.
Not yet. Yeah, exactly.
Well, one of the questions on bank account that they asked was like,
if we would
will
know.
you be able to see? Because there's
Yeah.
a piece in there about giving back to the church,
right.
tithing,
Right.
and like that will be part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So one of the women I do remember asked like, can you guys actually go into the church,
Yeah.
like the church system,
gotcha.
and
Yeah.
see
No.
if we are indeed giving tithes and offerings?
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
were like, oh no.
No.
We will
No.
just take your
No.
word for
Yeah.
it. Like, please
No.
don't lie about it.
Right.
But like, we'll just
Exactly.
Are you
believe
trying to set me up
Exactly.
for lie? Like, are you trying to see if I can find
Yes.
you out?
Yeah.
And it's helpful too, like that I'm on staff with that because I'm like,
Sure.
they don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
if they wanted to know how much I tithe, they can easily go find out, right? But like,
Sure.
that is not something that
Yeah.
they,
Who, the people?
like
On your
our
group?
staff.
Oh.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if Matt or whoever wanted to find out how much
Yeah.
he could ask Jen, but
Right.
like, it's not something that even as staff that they are like, hey, Lauren, I see that. Like, it's not.
Right.
No,
Right.
it's a
Yeah, it's
heart
more of a trust thing
Exactly.
than a like we're flipping through your file.
We're like,
Yeah.
we will talk about it, and we
Yes.
will
Yeah,
ask
we'll
you
talk
if you're
about tithing.
tithing.
Yes.
But like,
Yes.
we're not going to actually look and validate it. We'll
Yeah.
just believe what you say.
Yeah. When we're on the generosity ladder and you're saying, "Oh yes, I'm giving above and beyond," are you really?
Yes.
That's all we're
That's
asking.
all we want
Yeah.
to know.
Exactly. Exactly.
We don't need to.
I had a question about like stories. When you're going through stories, are you more of a mental note taker or do you like actually write notes?
I can't remember anything. So
Write that
I
booger
have
down.
like
Yep.
So I have like a page full of it.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I just try and jot everything down. Even I had met with Michelle when I was asking her, like my first go around, like what's important when I hear these stories? Like what do I listen for?
Mhm.
And one of the most important things that stuck out to me was that she said, you listen for what they don't say either.
Yep. Right.
And so like, yeah, like
How
if
do
they
you
don't,
do that?
I don't know.
I
But,
can
like,
hardly.
I think it works better after someone else has shared their story, right? Because then you're like, okay, they should share about a baptism.
Yep.
They should share about parents.
Yep.
They should share about any like love, interest, or any of that kind of stuff, like marriage or any of that.
Mhm.
Like when they came to Christ and just like some general, like I heard the Lord say. And so if they don't kind of hear those things, then it's like, okay, what does abiding look like?
Yeah.
If they're not hearing from the Lord or able to say like, the Lord spoke this to me or told me to do this, or, I felt like his guiding was very evident in this way. So there's some things where it's like, okay, but I think it comes with practice from what I hear.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
That those things stand out more of like, they didn't mention this at all.
But it's good to know like what things to look out for in a story.
Yeah. I think I was trying to listen for, without saying anything, but like listening for what would be a potential future Kairos moment or learning circle to walk through of like,
Absolutely.
okay, that's probably something that we're going to have to revisit at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one thing like that I need to be better at next time, because the first time I didn't take notes except for, when my co-leader wasn't there and someone was sharing their story. So I felt like I needed to, but then like later on I was like, oh man, I don't remember them saying this, or like, I feel like there were things that I missed not helping them on, but
Sure.
like when something else came up, I missed it because I didn't write things out. And I have a terrible memory and I write everything down, like Post-its.
You do have a lot of Post-its.
All of
Yeah.
I've got a
Very
whiteboard.
clean right now.
Yeah.
It is.
Not
Yeah.
many
Thanks.
Post-its.
Not a lot to remember, I guess.
I think also with having things written down, where my mind is going is it would be fun at the end or like when we're getting ready to release to go back and look at some of those things and look at like, hey, this is something you mentioned was a struggle in your story. Look how this is an area of transformation that like look how far you've come type of thing.
Yeah.
Being able to reference back to that.
Does it feel weird taking notes? Like
I
you're in
feel
a therapy session, like Let me write everything you say.
I do feel awkward, but I just am so like aware. You're just shaking your head now.
No,
I'm like so hyper aware of how people feel. Like I'm such an empath. Is that what
I
that
think
is?
we probably told them too. Like,
yeah,
hey,
well,
we're
we
going
told
to
them
take
to take
notes.
They took notes on each other too, which I think is helpful too.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know why we did. Like,
Yeah.
it is helpful because I know.
So I've got 2 leader tips. Number
Okay.
1 is have everybody in your group keep notes during stories.
Oh.
Not just the leaders, but like everybody in the group. So
Why
that
do you
keeps
say
keeps them engaged to the story as well, right?
Okay.
And so they're keeping track of that, but also that helps them for when they are a leader to keep track of how to keep notes, right?
Okay.
So what they're listening for and what they want to hear. That's going to go in the book, Katie.
I learn
right.
something new
Yeah.
every single week.
And then the other
I'm
one
gonna
is this.
listen to this.
I tend to every group, and people are different, right? But like I know one of my co-leaders had a 3-ring binder that he did a different 3-ring binder for every group.
Oh, wow.
I typically get like one of those little journals,
Yeah.
and that's my group.
Yeah.
And then I write in Sharpie on the front, D group, and then the date.
Here.
Yep.
And so I tend to have that. That is my book that I take to every
Yeah.
group and every session, right? Like to keep track of things.
Having them
So-
write stuff down during
Yeah.
stories also could be helpful because, like with your group, these spiritually mature people already, they could pick up on things that even you miss.
Yeah,
Right.
that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We have some that like speak into things, and I'm like,
Mhm.
thank you, good
Yeah.
job. You know,
Yeah,
like,
I think, and during stories, one of the funny things is like some of the best questions at the end, like somebody shares their story, and at the end of that session, some of the
Yeah.
best questions come from the other people around their
absolutely.
group
Yeah.
of going, hey, I didn't hear you say this, or, you know,
Yeah.
like, I think that's really what gets the juices flowing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So you let them ask questions too.
yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't get that.
I remember, I do remember that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not that bad.
That's
Jeez.
You're great.
I'm always keeping
Like I told you, your next group,
She
you're going to
really
be like
is.
the super leader. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Watch out,
That's awesome.
Shyla.
Yeah.
No.
Katie's
Shiloh's gonna.
Yeah.
Um,
That's going to be an awesome group.
It is gonna be awesome.
you guys.
No pressure.
Thanks.
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay, so since your group is, kind of ahead of the curve,
Yeah.
if what I'm hearing,
Seems that way.
were they already abiding? Like, did you have
Yeah.
to even?
We were just talking and laughing about it last night because we're like, how are we already halfway through the tools? But like abiding didn't take hardly any time.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. We did use the YouVersion Bible app,
Yep.
and did plans together quite a bit, and then Eat the Word and 7 Arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really liked 7 Arrows. And that was a new one since I had led last time.
Yeah.
And so I really liked it too because I was like, I'm
Yeah.
basically learning along with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were pretty much already all abiding in various ways. And so we were like, hey, it's just important that you know these particular tools so
Yeah.
that when you go to lead another group, you are armed with them and you kind of know
Right.
what's going on. But if you have a better abiding plan that works for you and a method that works for you, like
Yeah.
we're not telling you have to use one of these.
Sure.
You just need to know what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. What I love around about the 7 Arrows is like, so my group's very similar to yours. Like it was kind of some spiritual leaders already because we were kind of rebuilding discipleship at KCK
Okay. Yeah.
on the men's side.
Yeah.
And so most of them were already abiding, but then to like bring the 7 Arrows in and they go, well, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and it may be questions they already ask of the text, but
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
man, this is stuff I can
A good
use.
framework.
Like it gives value
Yeah.
to the fact we're having the conversation. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like this, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Eat the Word is like, I realized as we were doing the two like side by side, I think it
Yeah.
was just within a couple weeks of each other. 7 Arrows is just more of like how I already normally think. Like
Yeah.
that process is easier for my brain, how it functions.
Yep.
But the Eat the Word is great too. It's just way more like English and grammar,
Right.
And like that
Yes.
kind of.
It's back to 7th grade English.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Which is harder for me. So
Right.
that's where I'm like, and I don't seem to get as much out of it,
Yeah.
if you will, because I'm too focused on like trying to get the right answers of like, oh, I don't know, is this an adverb or is,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me,
Yeah.
like the 7 Arrows of more of the like looking at context was
Right.
bigger. Ooh.
So that's kind
Oh.
of like
No.
right
Speaking.
brain, left brain, right?
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah. It's a
the
little,
7 Arrows would probably be more like analytical
yeah.
because like you're looking at context and that's one side of the brain, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I don't
literature
know.
and stuff, that's the other side.
You've already lost me.
I'm trying to sound
So-
smart.
We did a
Yes.
You probably are. I just don't.
We did a few weeks of like providing a passage, like, hey, we're all gonna study this passage
Yep.
for over the next week.
Yep.
But you get to pick what method you want to use.
Oh, fun.
And so it was
That's
kind
a
of
good
fun to
idea.
see which
I know.
Going in the
method
book.
Going in the
people
book.
use. Like, this person picked
Yeah.
eat the word, and this person picked 7 arrows. Like,
Yeah.
neither is right or wrong. It's just interesting to see which people
Yeah.
kind of are drawn to more, which goes to your point of like, kind of depends on how you typically think.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Okay, so you guys didn't have any troubles with abiding, so you're
Just breezed right through it. Yeah. All
good
right.
for you.
Well,
Must be nice.
Yeah.
So then you move into the second phase, which is transformation, which is all the tools. So
Yeah.
how did you start that phase? Like, what tool did you use to jump into it?
Question.
And then I have a side question to that. Did you make your group aware that you were moving into phase 2, or did you just do it?
I think we started with Kairos.
Yeah.
You're right. We did.
there was-
Yeah, a Kairos. We just did a Kairos.
Excuse me,
circle.
what?
Learning circle.
Learning
Oh,
circle.
she's giving you a hard time. That's what she's doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
She does it to me every single day.
Yeah, I give her a
So
hard time.
That's right. Yeah.
You're right.
Um,
Someone had shared that there was
yeah.
something they were struggling with, and so Lauren and I were just like,
Should we
Here we
just-
go.
maybe we got to just jump into learning
Let's do
circle.
it.
And we
Yeah.
checked with her beforehand, like, hey, you shared
Yeah.
XYZ.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with being the kind of guinea pig for this tool?
Yeah.
We'll use your specific example
Very cool.
to walk through this tool.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I don't think that went super well because it didn't. The women were, it seemed like in totality, like I led, so I'm taking full blame for this, but like
Lauren says
it was
no.
too confusing to use a specific example and teach the
Yeah.
learning circle at the same time
Yeah.
because we
Right.
were like, in my mind, it was easy to pair them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the concept was totally new to them.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they were like, wait, now we're talking about her
Mm-hmm.
and this is the overall and then what happens next and then why is she doing that? And it just
Gotcha.
wasn't pairing for them
Yeah.
because they didn't have the complete picture of the learning circle.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't
did
do
she
that.
did she tell you the
Don't do
issue
that.
before group, or was this in group that she?
she shared the issue in group.
Okay.
And we
Like
asked
before.
her beforehand if
Yeah.
she would be willing to
Oh.
be the guinea pig to walk through.
So did
Gotcha.
you
We
walk
should've
through?
just done it. We should have just like
Yes.
everyone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So,
I
know, that's what I was gonna
so I
say.
think
That was
a healthy way to do
my
that.
mistake and my suggestion of like,
Yeah.
wow, why don't we just teach a learning circle?
Yeah. I
But we
would.
should have just
call it
walked
a
through a
thing.
learning circle
Right.
and
Yeah.
not taught the learning circle.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
And,
And
then,
then
later.
you could refer
Yeah.
to it. Hey, remember when we did this with you?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened to me when I was being discipled.
Right.
The person who was discipling me, she actually walked me through a learning circle
Mm-hmm.
prior to me being in discipleship group.
Yep.
And then when they taught learning circle, I looked at her and I was like, you did that to me when
That's
we were
what
talking
you
about XYZ
did.
before we even started.
Yeah.
And she
Got
was like,
ninja'd.
yep.
There you go. There you go.
who was
Darn you,
it?
that was
Yeah.
so good.
Who was it?
Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Man,
it's
I feel like I need to.
fun to
Michelle's
coffee
a
get
with
pro.
Michelle.
Yeah. Michelle's
like
a
it's
pro.
fun to get to do a tool or teach a tool that way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what we taught through last week or
Yeah.
what we walked you through, and they're
Yep.
like, oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly
So-
recommend that methodology.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
take ours.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it.
This is. I
There
feel
you
like
go.
this
Totally
is why
like
we're
my
here,
suggestion.
like to learn
Yeah.
from each other.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
I self-admittedly, like, I know nothing. I mean, I know things, but I like learning from other people.
She said it.
This has
Lauren
been
will
the
back
best
that
thing
up.
for her. Knowledge just
really
pouring in.
It's
Yeah.
what I need. It's what I
love it.
want. Like,
Just
I
soak
like
it up.
feeling like I'm not the only one that
Oh, yeah.
just goes like, oh, that was a bad idea.
there you
Like,
go.
I'm going to do this differently next
I mean,
time.
I left that night being like, Morgan, you've completely failed.
No,
Go.
that's
Like, you did a
my
terrible
goodness.
job.
Oh, I just
Yeah.
hug you
And
right
now it's like, okay, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
The world will continue to spin. But
Yeah.
Well, a minute ago you said, tears are not the mark of a great story. I think like if you have a night that you feel like, man, that was just terrible, like that's the mark of a good D group, right? Like
All right.
you've taught something and you're just like, I don't think they got that. Like
that's the mark?
yeah.
That's the
well,
mark?
And I'm like, we got to go back
mean-
and teach learning
Katie's
circle and
awesome.
just teach learning circle.
I think we all,
Here's
yeah.
how you do it.
I think we all have that moment, right? Though, I mean, I remember multiple times walking back, like Abby will be in another room or something after it's over, and I'm just like, I don't think they got that at all. Like that was rough, So
Stupid.
Did
Yeah.
you just hear what she said?
what?
Oh my gosh, she's like, well, then that means Katie's awesome.
Oh well,
I walk
there you
away
go.
every single night going like, what the heck did I just do?
She's on fire.
I will say,
That's
the learning circle plan that woman created, I think, did serve her well.
It was, yeah.
Yes.
So
it
in the
was
end,
transformation,
it worked
like,
out
immediately.
fine.
Yeah.
But
There
I
you
think
go.
we're going to have to reteach or at least review the learning circle
Yeah.
as a tool.
Yeah,
There
we'll
you
just
go.
do it, and then they'll be like, "What is this again?"
Yeah.
And then we'll get to read. Yeah.
So, like,
That's funny.
okay, what did you move on from there?
Oh, gracious.
Like, did you just have something? Okay, here's a broader question. Like, do you have a path in mind that you're like, we're gonna do this tool, this tool, this tool?
We
or
do
you
not.
just
I think we
That's-
wanted to start with the 8 arenas, but then we like it was
But
honestly.
then no.
But then
Yeah.
it was like they're ready for transformation, some of
Yeah.
them, and like they're bringing things up, and so we're gonna walk through this Kairos. You know, we're gonna talk about anxiety. We're gonna do that. We're gonna talk about identity. We're gonna talk about the work rest pendulum because you're over here
Yep.
telling us you need it. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
so
Yeah.
we just dove in
As
honestly.
need.
Yeah, because it felt silly to ignore it.
Yep.
You
Right.
know, like it would have been a huge misstep to not address what
Yeah.
was happening. So
Well,
My
that's-
personality type is I like to have a plan, so I really wish we
You're being
could say,
stretched a little bit.
we're
Yeah.
doing 8 arenas, and then we're doing
Yeah.
learning circle, and then we're doing identity triangle. Like,
Right.
I would love to have that all mapped out for the whole time, but
Yeah.
like
No,
Lauren
it's
said, it's
like-
just not moving that way. And even last
That's
night, I meant to text you afterwards and say, hey, I think we should do APES next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say something that I was like, oh, we need to like look at our giftings.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's what we'll do next week.
Sounds
Very
great.
cool.
Well, not
We're
next-
coming
not-
back
yeah.
after the new year.
Yeah, it'll be a little while.
Well,
Okay.
That's what we talk about all the time. Like, you
Yeah.
go with the needs of your group, and like if there are pressing needs, I think you're doing great. Like,
Yeah.
hey, this needs addressed. We're gonna do it.
It means a lot.
Does it, Lauren? Does it really?
There's going to be a conversation off camera later. No, I'm totally kidding. Yeah. That's awesome. So you guys are mid transformation, moving towards an out. Have you started thinking about an out, talking about an out, or is that,
Yeah.
have you done an out?
Thinking and
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
Morgan, she's such a planner. I
Yeah.
love it so much.
We are thinking and talking.
So
we
are
have-
you basing
Again, I
that?
wish we had a plan.
Yeah. Right. So are
I'm over here
you,
like go with the flow. I'm like, we have a plan. There's like a conversation that's happening.
We don't have a
It's all
plan.
planned
yeah,
out,
there you go.
basically.
So are you kind of looking at doing that based on the passions of your group and like getting input, or are you thinking because you're planning and talking, right? So
Yeah.
I'm putting this out here as kind of a baited question a little bit,
Yeah.
but like, how are you setting that up to what your out is going to be?
I think we went in with like, okay, New City Shawnee for 2023 has these 3 or 4 like things that we really want to be about
Cool.
for serving the community. And so we proposed those ideas and like, here's what that looks like. I think we even had them throw out a few other things too.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did.
And then we kind of just voted.
Cool.
It was like, what are you guys most interested in?
Yeah.
And then it was down to 2. And one we just couldn't hear back. Like people weren't getting back to us, but we also knew like they also already have partners.
Uh-huh.
Whereas, so that was like House of Hope and
Okay.
with
Yeah.
like teenage girls in
Yeah.
need. And then the other one is nursing home. Thank you. I was like, what are these called? What are these?
Morgan's got a plan. She's
She does. She's ready.
I meant to ask last night, like,
Yeah.
where are we at on that?
yeah.
So
need more
So
input.
that's the plan. And one
Yeah.
of our people has a connection at one of them. So
Cool.
that's the plan. And they were
Awesome.
because the connection was like super excited. Like
Yeah.
you guys are interested. Like that would be awesome. So that
Yeah.
to us is like ding ding ding. This is a place that needs people to come in
Very
and
cool.
just love on some old people.
Yeah.
I really liked how you said like New City's goal
Yeah.
for this year. I think that's a great idea is to like, I mean, we are the church and like we are hands and feet of this bigger thing. I think that if you have no idea,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to start is, okay, what is the church focusing on and how can we be an extension of that in
Right.
our
Absolutely.
own group?
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
brownie
good.
points too when you're on staff.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You
Well,
got,
my D group.
you got
is.
some direction to go. Yeah. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Very good.
But the fact that you thought of that, I'm like, fine. Good job, Lauren.
There's more resentment building through this whole conversation.
We are best
I'm
friends.
Yeah.
You
Like,
are. It's
right.
true. Yes. Yes.
I was like, she'll
We'll
take the
clarify
blame,
for
I'm
all of our
She'll
listeners.
only throw me
Yeah.
under the bus 3 times a week, but
That's right.
I still love her.
That's right. Yes.
don't know how
That's
I do
true
it.
love. True friendship. Well, man. Cool.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, this has been a really great chat.
Yeah.
I think I've learned a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to close with this. So I thought it was fun. One night we were here and I walked into your group and I just kind of put you guys on the spot as leaders. And I said, hey, I'm going to ask somebody in the group what phase you are in. And they knew where they were. So I would say, great job. Way to
Give
go.
Lauren a raise.
Yeah.
And then more,
They called them.
That's right.
I
Snaps,
called them
right?
the number.
Yeah.
And somebody else said the actual name.
That's
and then
right.
they looked at me and they were like, "Is that right?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"They're both right. Like,
They're both right.
You did it.
Yeah.
It's both. Yes.
You're on.
You
yeah.
go. Go
That's
make
right.
disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're done here.
Yeah,
Go
we're
make-
done.
yeah.
You knew that.
You're ready. You're ready. Yeah. So exciting to hear what's going on in your group.
Yeah.
Excited that you guys were here today. Thank you.
Thanks for
and
having us.
I think there's some great
Fun.
stuff that people can know and learn from our conversation.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah. Morgan's a longtime listener, first time
Yes.
podcaster, right?
True.
No.
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I love it.
She's one of the people that actually came up to me and said something about the podcast. I was like,
know.
Right?
It's true.
She's a fangirl.
Yeah. Do you have any shout outs this week?
Huh?
Do you have any shout outs this week? Oh, nope. Never mind.
I'm trying
Not
to think.
Put you on the spot.
Not
Sorry.
this week, I don't think.
Okay.
But,
Well, with that, if you have any questions, you can send your questions to d3info@newcitychurch.com. We'd love for you to check out our YouTube page, or you can listen on any of the, what am I trying to say? You can
don't
listen
know.
on any of the podcast streaming to follow any of our episodes.
Yeah.
And all
if
that.
you have anything to add, like
Yeah.
to my imaginary book that we are
Yes.
supposed to be writing,
Hey,
like
we're working on it.
ideas and
Yeah.
I didn't know
Comments?
it's not real.
It's real. It's going to be a supplementary.
I want it to be real, but no one
For-
has actually taken the time and I'm putting that mostly on me because
I'm-
that's what I want.
I'm packing them away. It's
Really, because I
it'll-
forget them almost
Yeah.
immediately. That's why I need the book.
It'll be great. It'll be the most informational resource guide you need as a leader. It's going to be awesome. So, with that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on the D3 Discipleship Podcast.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that today's information was helpful and useful for your discipling journey. We would like to encourage you to subscribe, review, and share on social media. If you would like more information, check out d3pathway.com.